You're listening to the Intercoastal Podcast, part of the Destination Marketing Podcast Network. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Intercoastal Podcast. I'm Daquan Mickens. The Beaufort Water Festival is one of our favorite summer events, and today we're talking with Dusty Vickers, the marketing and PR coordinator of the festival. Welcome to the show, Dusty.
Appreciate it, man. Glad for having me.
Oh, yeah. It's always great to have people come in and talk about the water festival and give us different insights. You know, we've been doing it for about 2 or 3 years now, and every time we come on, have someone come on the episode, we find out something different, something we didn't know, the year prior. And, last year was my first year going to the water festival, and, I missed a couple years before that, but it's definitely different hearing about it versus seeing it.
Oh, yeah, man. 68 years in the making. Every year there's something new.
Yeah. It's definitely a great time, and I'm actually bringing my family in from Spartanburg to actually experience it because that's how much fun me and my wife had.
Nice.
Can you tell us about yourself, and can you tell us about your Beaufort story? How did you come to be in Beaufort?
Yeah, man. I moved down here in 2010. My father lived here, and I just moved down from Columbia, so still from the state. But, man, came down here for the first time, fell in love with all the water and the boat ramps, and I like to fish and be outdoors, so it was a no-brainer to get away from the city. And I worked for a local landscape company, and I started off in like 2011, pulling the trailers in for the festival.
Okay.
And from there, it was like hit the door running.
Yeah. So as soon as you got to the town, they were like, "Oh, here's the water festival. You're working for it."
So started at a low entry level, just pulling in a trailer here. Hey, my name, meet this guy, meet that guy. Can you come down here and do that? And 2 years of that, and then 2012 is when I technically, you could say, started full time. They put a badge on you. Yeah. And then, the rest is history from there.
Yeah. I was going to say, it sounds like the story most people have when they come and not just only move to Beaufort, but visit Beaufort, where you're like, wow, I actually like the water. I like the setup. It's a real cozy feeling here. Same reason why I'm still here and didn't decide to uproot and leave. You just fall in love with the town itself. And
the town itself, the water, the weather, man. My wife's from Pittsburgh, and I can tell you, we go up for Christmas, and I'd rather come back here and be in shorts and a T-shirt in December than snow and cold.
I was going to say, we had a little joke before we started the podcast about I'd rather deal with the heat and humidity before I deal with the cold and snow.
That's right.
So definitely love Beaufort for that. So like you said, you started volunteering in 2011. How has it transitioned from 2011 to now?
So, everybody starts off as a staff position, or volunteering, or somebody. And then, hey, come down, put in a couple hours, do this, you get a ticket or you get a T-shirt, and then you just start hanging out with these people and you really realize it's a good group of people. And then, the more people you meet, and then you get asked to do more and asked to do more. And next thing you know, you're right in the midst with everybody, and we call it drinking the Kool-Aid. Once you take a sip, man, you're hooked,
Yeah.
And then it's just like having a second family, Everybody's there for each other in times of need or just in general, because we spend so much time together. Yeah,
that's a good point. We've noticed when we talk to other people and they said, well, I just volunteered for like 4 or 5 years. And then they noticed, oh, man, I've been doing this for 15, 20 years now and didn't even realize that much time has gone by. And you're already up to, 14 years?
12, 13 years.
Yeah, so it's definitely insane how quick it goes.
Yeah, in each position. So, we try and you do a position a year. Some positions you do 2-3 years, but majority of the positions you do a year and then you move to the next year.
Yeah.
So like this year, I'm the PR and marketing person. So Facebook, Instagram, website, the forms, the links that you fill out. I'm in charge of the Pirates, which is our young ladies, the ambassadors of the festival. Yeah. So like we have the Watermelon Parade Festival on Saturday. Myself and them will be driving up to be in the parade. Last year I was a sponsors coordinator for the last 2 years. So all 165 sponsors, and that's who I dealt with.
Yeah.
And then the year before that I was the water and air coordinator. So fishing tournament, air show. So each year you move and you learn, you move and you learn. And then the idea is by the time that it is your time to be called to be commodore, you've been graced in each one of those positions. So every spot that it takes to be commodore.
Yeah.
So when somebody asks you a question, you can answer it because you've been there, done that.
Yeah. And just my mind just wondering, Is there a certain time until you're Commodore? Is it just random?
So it gets voted in, but it's random, you know. I
Mhm.
mean, sometimes it could be 6, 8 years. It could be 15 years. It's
Mhm.
all up to we call them the PCs, the past Commodores, the full board meeting. They vote and, you know, you get elected in, or, you know, it's just like our voting system in the world, you know.
Yeah.
You get one or two and then they vote between the two of them, and somebody gets to be the program coordinator, which is the man underneath the Commodore. Technically like the vice president, you know what I mean? So you do a year underneath the Commodore, and if everything goes smooth, you
Be the next one up.
get promoted to Commodore the next year.
Okay. So for the newcomers to the festival and those who are coming back to the festival, is there anything that you would like them to know that's different this year?
Well, this year opening ceremonies on July 12th. Of course, we'll have the Marine Corps band playing and fireworks right at dark off the barge. Saturday night concert in the park. We got Palmer Lee as our main act. Hunter Girl is our middle act, and then Katie Lynn, a local, is going to be opening for both of them.
Nice.
With that being said, though, we are doing a clear bag policy this year. We have an updated form on our website.
Mhm.
If there's any questions for sizes, we will have bags for sale at our t-shirt merchandise tent. So you can buy some bags there if you already have a clear bag. It sort of goes by the same guidelines as a lot of these concerts, sporting events. I think Beaufort High might even have started doing clear bag policies.
Mhm.
You know, so it's like a fanny pack or a small clutch purse, not like the big backpack bag, but the smaller sizes. But we will have some bags on site. That is our biggest change this year, as being in the park, and as well as our ticket sales are online only as well. Last year we did concert in the park to do a test run because it's our biggest night, and it ran so smoothly in the way technology and everything's changed and through the years. Everybody's pretty much going online ticket sales. So scan the QR code, buy it on your phone, go to the gate, get a wristband.
Yeah, and that makes sense because, you know, like you said, everything's updating. So you guys have to keep up and update your processes and your policies. So I thank you guys for everything you do to keep it running smoothly, because last year, like I said, it was my first year. So I got to see it run smoothly, get my wristband, walk on in, no issues, no, you know, hey, this was a ticket that I purchased, anything like that, to make it any.
I mean, even the 12, 13 years I've been around, the changes that I could see, you know, from a volunteer standpoint. You know, we used to hand it every year. You'd pass around a notebook or a binder with notes in it. And then it went to flash drives. Well, now you got Google Drive, and everything's linked to Google Drive, and you just update the drive and put all the information in. I mean, you gotta change with the times, or the time's going to leave you in the dust, man.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you try and do everything you can to make it better each year and so forth, you know, to try and benefit the public as much as possible.
Yeah. Before I get into this next part of the questions, what is your favorite part of the festival?
It's probably going to be everybody's favorite that you asked that volunteers. It's going to be opening ceremony.
Yeah.
So we spend 10, 11 months planning, prepping, having events beforehand. The whole week of festival, it starts Monday, 5 days of tears, sweat, and blood to set all this up. And Friday, July 12th, when the gates open, everybody can just take a deep breath. And we're like, well, it's happening now.
Yeah.
You know? If there's something wrong, we'll fix it tomorrow. But, you know, ideally, everything's good to go, and it's time to put the show on and have a good time.
Yeah, I would agree. I think 2 or 3 other volunteers have said that on the podcast before. That and closing ceremony.
Yep. Because so you're putting it to bed.
Yep. You're like, well, we're done. We went smoothly all the way through. We made it to the end, and now we get to get that little bit of break before we have to ramp back up and start all over again.
That's right. And what a lot of people don't realize, you know, it takes us a whole week to set it up. Commodore's Ball that Saturday night at 11 o'clock, we start tearing down. And when the sun comes up Sunday morning, the park's empty. Nobody, you know, unless you come down for the Blessing of the Fleet, which is 12:30, final Sunday, you'll see the park. The park will be empty. The stage is gone. The band stuff's gone. The tents, the trailers, everything. It's just grass, waterfront park again. And
I would like to ask, how many volunteers do you guys have in total?
So we have 11 coordinators in Commodore, 25, 26 directors, and then anywhere from 20, 30 staff that come back yearly. And then underneath that, man, we have walk-up staffs. We just, our sign-up Genie link just went active today, so you could pick a date and a time. You could come down and volunteer yourself, you know, but 100, you know. It's more than the 30 people that it takes to put it on. You know, we couldn't do it without our military volunteers, the civic organizations, all those groups that you see underneath the tents, working the gate, selling the tickets, selling the beer, the wine,
the shirts,
or the T-shirts. All those are civic organizations in themselves. Vets, Moose Lodge, Battery Creek Booster Club, Beaufort High Booster Club, Young Lawyers, the Marine Wives, all those, Burton Fire Department Wives, all those are all other nonprofit organizations that help put on the show. And if it wasn't for them other civic organizations, man, we couldn't, the manpower to put on something like that, and they rotate out each night.
So. Yeah. And that's one of the, like, we've said it so many times on like this podcast with different episodes, different guests, like the community, everybody in the community buys into something. They're like, this is part of what we want to do and part of who we are. So they all buy in and all help everybody because we're a community, no matter what. And that's what guests realize when they do come. Like, hey, we want to welcome everybody into this community, no matter where you come from, who you are, you're part of it.
Yeah, I think 6 years ago, Commodore Brian Patrick, his slogan, so the slogan changes each year and the Commodore picks a slogan. If I remember correctly, his slogan was for the community, by the community.
Yep.
And that slogan does it right there, what you just said, it's put on by the community, it's for the community.
Yeah.
And then talking to people around town, this is going to be your second year, but when these people come down for the week of festival, they're seeing people that they went to high school with, or they went to middle school with, or their sons are in from college just for the week. So it's like a reunion of reunions every year.
Yeah.
Second or third week in July, it brings everybody back to this small town on the Beaufort River. And, you get to see these people that might be living in New York or Texas or California or Florida, or wherever, come back just for a couple of days and just, bring back their childhood and see all their old friends again.
Yeah, I agree. Especially with it being a military town, we have a lot of people who do experience it when they come from the military or they're stationed here.
Yeah, come for 2-3 years and then leave, and then next thing you know, they're coming back.
Yeah.
There's a husband and wife that come the first Sunday during Kids Day to our ski show, and they have been to every ski show that we have ever had.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they're up there in age. But I always make a point. You recognize, I see their face, and I stop by, I talk to them, and say, "Hey, glad to see you another year."
Yeah,
it's just that type of thing. You see those same people every year, event for event, and it really hits home that it touches that many people, and to be a part of that.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. It's all about the people like that who come back and make it part of their life. Can you give us some insight on the behind the scenes of the water festival? Like, what does it take to make it work? Like you said, the volunteers help set up and take stuff down. But what is one key aspect that we cannot run this show without this?
Well, we couldn't do it without the community and all the volunteers. Secondly, we couldn't do it without our sponsors, from the little ones to the big ones. They help put the show on. And, between the sponsors and the community and all the people that come out, all the T-shirts that are bought, all the cups that are bought, all that goes back in to put the event on.
Yeah.
These big acts, all these bands, we got a couple local artists this year playing for us. All that we're trying to take into consideration. And from the planning aspect of it, we start 10 months out, the 11 of us, the coordinators and the commodore, we start in September meeting twice a month. January 1st, we meet every other week.
Yeah.
And then with all those meetings, we have subcommittee meetings. We have a sports committee. We have a water and air committee. We got a sponsors committee. All these things, you're meeting once, twice a week. You're doing this, you're doing that. It takes a lot more than just snap your fingers and play some good music on a stage.
Yeah. And I would like to ask you, this is just my mind just working as we're going through. I know they don't reveal the Commodore to the public until the Commodore Ball. When do you guys know who the next Commodore is, and how far out do you know? Do you know like 2 years from now or like 3 years who will be the Commodore?
So technically you're the vice president, the programs coordinator. So that position is voted on a year in advance.
Okay.
So when the new Commodore gets voted in, he makes his recommendation for one or two, and then the past Commodores, the PCs, vote, and then they approve that programs coordinator.
Okay.
So then he's to be the second in charge for a year, and then the next year you would be. So pretty much about a year in advance.
Okay.
But the Commodore gets voted in Commodore's Ball is that Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
That morning is the parade, the grand parade.
Yep.
And after the parade is over, all the PCs, we call it our executive meeting, they go in and they have their meeting and they vote right in there and they get it. That's when it comes to tuition, you know, and they approve that program coordinator from the year before.
Okay.
So you get approved and then you get to bring in your next program coordinator.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's about a year in advance, you know.
Okay, that was just me wondering. And then the final question is, what are some of your favorite memories from volunteering at Water Festival?
The family, all the people I've gotten to know and meet. Of course, opening ceremony, fireworks on the barge. You know, there's so many different things you could think about. The main thing that I could think about from a staff volunteer person is on that last Sunday, Blessing of the Fleet.
Yeah.
When all the boats are going by, all of us staff that's been working all week stayed up through the night to tour the park down. We usually go and get ice cream, and we sit in the park, all 10, 15 of us, and eat ice cream.
Oh, wow.
And that started 8, 9 years ago, 7 years ago. I can't remember who started it.
Yeah.
It's an argument about who started it. So everybody tries to take, credit for it, but somebody started it.
Yeah.
And we all get ice cream. And from Yo-Yo's right there or somewhere.
Yeah.
And we just sit down in the park, we eat our ice cream and watch the boats go by. And that's like us putting everything to bed. There's still work to be done.
Yeah.
But pretty much the brood of everything is done and over with.
Oh, yeah. That is nice that you guys can actually come together.
Yeah.
And like it brings back that family aspect like that you said, like, hey, we're family. We did this hard work. Let's congratulate ourselves and just appreciate what we did.
Yeah, it's like being at family vacation on the lake, after a long day of swimming and playing, you sit back and eat some ice cream and you get to joke about what happened for the day. And that's pretty much what we're doing.
Yeah. Like you said, it makes the memories as time goes by.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
This has been a great episode, Dusty. Thanks again for coming on the show to talk about Beaufort's Water Festival. Don't forget the Water Festival is happening July 12th through the 21st. Is there a website where people can find you and buy tickets?
Yeah, man, you can get on our website, BeaufortWaterFestival.com. We have our full event schedule on there. You can purchase tickets on there. There's the sporting and water events that are during festival. The links are still active online. So if you want to get a raft race team together, bocce team together, badminton team, you can still fill out those links. Bed race, you can fill out that link as well. All those are still open and available to the public. And then we look forward to seeing everybody on July 12th.
Yep, sounds good. Thank you again for listening to the Intercoastal Podcast. You can follow us on social media at visit_BeaufortSC on Instagram or at BeaufortSC on Facebook. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review. We'll talk to y'all next time. This has been another episode of the Intercoastal Podcast, hosted by Daquan Mickens and the team at Visit Beaufort, Port Royal, and the Sea Islands. Produced by Relic.